Hello, my name's Kelly, and I am a student of A Course in Miracles, shamanism, direct entry midwifery, and anthroposophy, which is the philosophy behind Waldorf schooling. And through all of that curious research, I discovered channeling. And this is my therapy, and it's my spiritual practice. And I'm discovering that it's the wisdom behind the Stoics and the Hermetics, and it explains Christ consciousness and the multidimensional reality that we live in. And today the Devas would like to speak. They made themselves known. And the question is the earth round? Because my friend told me it depends on your level of perception. So I'm curious about that. And then I thought, well, a sphere is like a third dimensional shape, right? When you get into fifth dimensional shapes, you're not dealing with spheres or cubes anymore. You're dealing with hypercubes and hyperspheres and all that. So they're telling me that Earth is actually a hypersphere, which can be described as a spiral. And yeah, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to channel the Devas right now, the land spirits. This is where things are getting magical. And the magic, to understand the fourth dimensional magic of fairies and dragons and all that, you've got to begin with the Devas. You have to begin with honoring the land. And they are the ones who are like the gatekeepers of the fourth dimensional magic. And they told me very clearly, I saw 333 as well when I was asking about the shapes. So, Devas, what would you guys like to say about the fourth dimensional nature of Earth? Okay, their energy is not coming in as like words. It's like I have to spend more time adjusting to their frequency, because with humanoid sort of concepts, I can have more dialogue, but their energy is more like multi-textural, not just, I can't just see words real fast. It's textural. So perhaps you'd like to begin by showing me the textures of nature. And they're inviting everybody, when you go out in nature, they don't want to talk about it. They want you to experience it. So when you go out next time and you find a patch of grass, or you see a plant that's beautiful, or the sky, the birds, I saw, I think it was a heron. I've been seeing herons like every day. The great blue heron. It flew over just as the Devas, they made it rain. Like I was about to do a video and all of a sudden it rained and I had to stop the video, and it happened yesterday too. And I was like, okay, why did you stop my video? Because right after I got under cover, the rain went away, and I was like, that's weird. It just flash rained like that. And it just happened. And instead of getting up and walking away, I waited for the rain to go away. And I was like, okay, was that a sign that you guys want attention? And I know it's the Devas. Well, that's what happened. And I saw the heron and I saw the 333. And okay. To understand the fourth dimension and the fifth dimension, we can't get you there with words. We can't, because words engage your logical mind. They're really trying to start to talk about, they're beginning to really focus on light language preparation. They want to prepare humanity for light language because it bypasses the critical mind of the ego. And things can heal really fast if you just listen to light language. And when you listen to light language, you're not going to understand. Even Kelly, when she hears light language, she can't interpret it immediately. She doesn't listen to it regularly enough to be familiar with it, but she really wants to translate into English what she's hearing in light language. And so far, she's not energetic at all. She doesn't, I don't channel my body enough, or physical energies. I don't channel them. I channel thought forms. because I'm so fascinated by how it's all designed. And they're telling me that I need to, if I really want to understand, I need to focus my attention more on texture than critical, logical thinking. Because we need to move into a feeling space, which is not your left critical brain. It's your intuitive, soft, receptive side that's okay with not defining everything a certain way. So a one way to do that is to consider the textures of nature. Instead of logically explaining the shapes mathematically, listen to the birds for a second. Breathing is such a silent activity that you can listen to the birds and you can breathe at the same time. And then when you're doing that, my shoulders, I noticed my shoulder tension and I just rolled them back. Because observation isn't just doing nothing. When you observe, you're receiving, and then you're taking notes about what you see. You're not having a reaction. You're just going, uh-huh. Okay, and if you feel like you look at something and it causes you to be aware of a judgment and maybe that leads to a concern, that's okay. That's the human mind. That's totally natural. When you catch it, let it go. Just go, okay, that was interesting, but I'm not really going to focus on that right now. I just want to feel. Okay. And so you're observing and you're feeling and your thoughts are going to happen. So as your thoughts are passing through your mind, some of them are going to trigger you. Why? They trigger you because they're getting your attention. Okay, there's something in your belief system that your Holy Spirit wants you to look at. And that's why that topic and theme and person triggered you. Because it's like a glitch. It's an uncomfortable feeling about the cognitive dissonance going on. Okay? And you have cognitive dissonance going on within you because your truth does not align with what society is reflecting back to you. And because you're on a slavery planet, you did not have conscious choice in how that society was created. You were born into it. So you're holding truth. The Christ light is the truth, which is the 5D reality that love is equal to identification with God. Love is the frequency of God. And that's the truth. And you hold that with you as you reincarnate. If you don't want to believe in reincarnation, this isn't your channel, because I would have no idea how to work with that. I only understand this through the lens of reincarnation, because every single lifetime has a different flavor. But they're parallel. It's the same story acted out again and again and again. From a different Venn diagram of a collective that you share with other separate but not really separate. Doesn't that make sense? Separate but not separate. It's compartmentalization of the mind. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to disassociate. You could have insight into yourself. You could get to know yourself. Know thyself. The Stoics taught that. Okay, Kel, go back to feeling. We know you're getting excited about this. And it is exciting, and I get excited, and then they're like, but guess what? If you could just be quiet for a little longer, it'll get even better. I'm like, how do you get better than exciting? I don't even know. You can get relaxed, and you can allow bliss to show up. You're allowing bliss to show up with excitement of thinking, which is really fun, and that's great, and you could spend a lot of time there exploring that. But we're on a fast track right now because we want you to touch as many people on the planet as possible, because that's our game right now. Okay, Kel? Our game is to be the assassin. Okay? And your job is to be oh God, what was the word? This is why I knew discipline was coming, because they told me I was going to have to be, I don't want to remember the word, but it was not perfect. It was like excellent, but different. Anyway, it was like, you're really going to have to be conscious every single moment of the day. You're going to have to be holding your highest self every single minute of the day, Kel, eventually. So take your time. Take as much time as you need. But you're going to have to do that. And I was like, okay. Okay. Go back to feeling now. Okay, shoulders are tight. This is what meditation looks like. Kelly's giving you a verbal story of what it's like to sit and meditate. You're going to sit and you're going to feel things you don't normally feel because your eyes are closed, right? Don't we know that when blind people are musicians, they're really good because their ears are sharper because their eyes are closed? Okay, close your eyes. Your ears will get sharper. Okay, all of this is designed this way. We know how to work with the tools that you have as a human that you don't understand. You guys are babies. You're flinging your arms around. You don't even know you have fingers yet. Okay? You guys don't understand how to work with the tools of your body. Your body is fascinating energetically. What's going on with your antenna and your vagus nerve and your light body and your karma and your chakras and all of it. And now we're going to start talking about the extraterrestrials and the Devas. Okay. Okay, back to the Devas now. See, we're going all over the place, and Kelly sounds like she's ADHD, but that's because she's navigating multidimensional space in her mind. She's like, which timeline do I want to talk about? I could go to that timeline, I could go to that timeline, I could go to that timeline. And then when you watch the video again, it's going to make more sense. You're going to go, oh, that's why. And that's what's happened to Kelly. She's like while she was feeling it, channeling it, she's having an experience. And can you imagine trying to put into words what it feels like to channel a higher frequency? It's not, when you put it into words, you're making a decision about how to represent it. Okay, and I'm not allowed to choose for anybody else their path. Free will has to be a rule of law in heaven. You have to have free will. Every single person on the planet has to choose their belief system. And most people are programmed because it's just human nature to absorb your environment. That's why the womb is special, because it's like the walls that you're reflecting. When you're a baby inside the womb, you look around, all you see is the womb. The womb is the mirror of where you are. Okay, so the mother goddess is the mirror reflection of where you are in her, kind of like a womb. This earth is kind of like a womb. Okay, but it's veiled. It's programmed for you to have certain challenges in this dense reality. Certain challenges that are met through the environment of Earth right now. It's a very specific mixture of opposites clashing where you are right now. And the parallel timelines are different sets of opposites clashing that look like that. That's the artwork from the 5D perspective. In the 5D, we are designing and through light, manifesting the games we are playing up there. You are acting out the games we are playing up there, but it's multidimensionally interactive. So we can make decisions up here that will influence you, and you have free will on the board to play. I'm seeing a chessboard where all the pieces are alive. But they're not just like standing there waiting. They're on horses and they're actually interacting. So it's like I'm watching a board game with little parts that are just moving on their own around the board game. But there's also like a giant kid sitting there, and they're watching all the puzzle pieces. But psychically, the pieces are influenced by the players, and the players know what's going on. It's like that Flatland thing. It's like the Flatland, where the Flatlanders don't understand what the third dimension knows, and the third dimension looks down at Flatland like, oh, that's super easy to understand. And then the heron flew by, and the birds teach us about perspective. When you fly above a situation and you look way over there to the mountain, you look way over there to the ocean, and you're like, okay, I can see the storm clouds, and I can see that most of it's green. Okay, the birds teach us to have perspective. The turtles teach us to be patient. These are aspects of the mother goddess. These are aspects of the illusion. And wherever your heart is where you are going to interpret what it means, because it's all a Rorschach test. It's a multidimensional, moving multidimensional Rorschach test. So the 5D is influencing the 3D. The 3D has free will, and 3D is just an ego looking out at itself, being reflected back to it. And who is it? It's just a place in consciousness. It's a place in the third dimension, which is a dense place in consciousness, in free will. You're just in a certain place in free will, and an object that had a beginning and an end is actually over. If you look at infinity, if you look at where people are in, the entities are in the 5D, where infinity is the natural time. So there's no marker for time. It's just infinite. It's all ever being. Okay? We don't understand that from the third dimension. We don't understand infinite, because the third dimension is finite. So we can't understand God, because God's a different dimension than us. Okay? But we chose this third dimensional experience as a dream. You could describe it as an illusion, as a dream, as a matrix. Get it? They're all alpha, omega, beginning and end, duality, conflict, drama. That's why it's a stage. Okay, I'm gonna channel live Oscar Wilde, because I do have a court date next week for traffic tickets, and I'm gonna write a poem for the judge. And I'm told I have to have permission to record it, but I hope I can just get an audio somehow. If not, it's fine. I'll have a poem written. But I'm going to channel Oscar Wilde tomorrow about how to make that a stage, because I feel like we're supposed to play. That sound fun? Okay. They're showing me my outfit right now. I'll get dressed up for that. So, oh my God, it's still recording. Okay. So, A Course in Miracles. Devas, I'm sorry. Did I just totally interrupt you? I am an over-talker. I apologize. You guys are beautiful. Thank you so much for that gift. And Kamar happens to be making a yurt for her third grade native culture shelter project. They build them in third grade, and the kids get to choose which one, and she chose the yurt. And I've been wanting to do a little fairy doll house forever, so I'm gonna make it into a fairy doll house by blinging it out. And fairies do like plastic. You guys like plastic, right? I'm talking to the fairies. The Devas, are you separate than the fairies? Yeah, the Devas are the guardians of the fourth dimension. So they allow people in or don't allow people in. They use their veils for that. But humans are very easy to trick. We are not paying attention to anything, so we're really easy to trick. But they appreciate people who love them back. They appreciate people who just love nature and spend time in nature. And yes, our souls remember each other. I used to have regular communication with Devas in past lives, and they remember me. So when I do visit land, I'm learning about ley lines and land grid building, and a light grid of the earth building. And when you go revisit those devas, that's why they want to talk. That's their point today, is that when you put your bare feet on the ground, you're saying hi to the devas. Hi. Okay. It's biometric. Your feet have a signature on them, just like your fingerprint. Okay. They said the word biometric. So when you put your feet on the earth, it's like your fingerprint to your mother. And the devas are like, they're keeping track of, I just saw a little notebook and they're writing your name and they're checking it off. And your footprint can tell the earth about how you're doing. It's much like how you breastfeed a baby. When you breastfeed a baby, they breathe on your skin and their nostril moisture communicates with the mother's skin about their health, right? Your skin understands their skin. We don't have to go through words. Words are annoying. Learn a new language, guys. They're making fun of English again. So whatever you can do to honor nature, whether it's garden or walk or hike or choose to put your phone down and just be quiet, they appreciate that as well. Because when you do that, the next time you do walk through, you're paying more attention. It's starting to rain, so they're done. And A Course in Miracles, it is a book that is a channeling of Jesus' message. And I studied that because I was really curious about who Jesus was. And I was like, well, that doesn't sound like it could harm me to read A Course in Miracles. Maybe it's not him, but maybe it's still a good message that's useful to me. And then, of course, once you read it and you're like, energetically, probably it pulls you in. So, it's a channeled message of Jesus. And what I wanted to say was, he tells us to listen to our Holy Spirit. So he tells us that we can access God directly. We don't need anybody else to interpret God for us. We can talk directly to our Holy Spirit. And so then I stumbled upon shamanism after that. And that's where they taught me how to do that. So, okay, this is over. All right. Much love. Namaste.